Sorry, just messing around in 6/8. We're working on 6/8 today. You can see that. In fact, that's the hard one. I got to give you there's the easy one, believe it or not. That's the easy one. Can you hear me? Let's see. Long day already. I'm like a Marine. What is it? Or the Army? We do more before 9 o'clock than most people do in a day. And somebody said, and that's a selling point? I love that bit. I forget what that's from. It's probably Cheers. Anyway. Let's see. Who do we have? How many people do we have online right now? Let me get this. 32. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Working it, working it. I'm not really. I don't do enough promoting of this. Of the everyday. I should get on my Facebook and do the Facebook group, and also do Instagram and say, hey, I'm going live at 11. I just forget to do that. Got busy today, especially. So who we have here? We got Dennis, of course, Ben, Roger, Jim, Kimberly, Bonnie, Bonnie and Jim, of course. Bonnie, how you doing? Did you get that knee thing done, right? You got the, you probably talked about it in the stream. Let's see. Paul Becker, good morning. Bob Schumann, AJ, Pepper's here. Pepper, I watched your comedy. Pretty crazy, because that's I always say, of all the people in the entertainment business, we talk about actors, stage actors, musicians, singers. Wouldn't say artists are different, but anybody in the performing arts, I have the most respect for stand-up comedians because. Hey, Bavar, let's see. David Sellers, catching up on slowly this Rhythm Biz audiobook work piling up. Are you a voiceover guy for audiobooks? That's one of those jobs you can do from home, which is great. Let's see. Gary in the house. Moses is in the house. Two broken thumbs. I hope that's not true. Let's see. Erasmus, gotcha. I see you. Keith. And of course, there's several people here that have not said anything. Verdi's here. Good to see you, sir. Let's see. Bob Schumann, I think I said that. You guys are saying hello to so fast that my stream is. Oh, there are the Tom command sips. We got 10 of them now. Let's see. And I want to design a mug that says there will not be a test on this. What's up, Walter? Good to see you. We're going to talk about 6/8. Kathy Murray. Okay, go ahead and finish your lunch. We'll wait. Waiting for Kathy to finish her lunch. So, Kathy, just let me know down there when you're done with your lunch. It's a nice day out. All right, I'm just messing with you. Hey, Leo. Good to see you. So, yeah, we're going to do some 6/8 jams. Yeah, I got up early this morning. It's at 6 o'clock to teach. I don't really do lessons online. You know, I don't really do lessons that much anyway, but I do have one student who's in London, and he's or just outside of London, and so to make it work around his schedule, sometimes I have to get up at like really early, and so today I got up really early and we did a lesson, and it's weird because the lag thing makes it really hard to kind of jam along. You know, we were working on a couple songs, and it was like, okay. So, and I imagine, I don't know if the lag is a lot affected by the distance, but I mean, London is pretty far from LA. If I was doing a Skype lesson to someone across the street, would it be less lag? I don't know. It may just be inherent in the, hey, Don Myers. Thanks, Don. I appreciate that. What's the black stripe on the right purpose? Black stripe on the right. You mean on the, did I mess up? Well, for one thing, I did mess up on that last one. You talking about the, here? On the strumming groove? And so that was kind of the field that I was playing over. That's it, 60 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. So 6/8 is cool because it's kind of like this. It's two fields in one. It's so much fun to play in. Walter and I love playing in 6/8. We have a lot of fun in 6/8, especially when we're doing acoustic night or acoustic service at our church. But you can count it in 2, 1, 2, a 1, like you're counting a waltz or something, two, like a 1, 2, and then you can count it the threes. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Thank you, Two Broken Thumbs. Two, three, two, two. And usually that's how I think of it. When I'm counting it in, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So you're kind of counting both the big 1, 2 and the 1, 2, 3s, the subdivisions in there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So you can see 6/8 going by. If you look at the top right, example 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. You can see how I'm counting it. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. And it's one of those grooves where we probably would use all downstrokes for that. Because we're probably going to subdivide the subdivisions. All right, let me turn off this groove. I like that reverb. If you're looking for good reverb, check out Valhalla. They have about 5 or 6 that you can buy, and they have each one of them is great. That's the Room, and I think that one is. Let's see, what sound did I use there? Yeah, the large wood room. I really like the sound of that. So I don't know if you can hear it, but Valhalla Room. Yeah, that's the Valhalla Room reverb, and it's very, very realistic sounding to me. I mean, that's a pretty heavy beat. I have another one that's more of an acoustic beat that we're going to use for the... You can hear the 16th notes in there maybe. I don't know if you can hear those subdivisions. But that's what we're going to do. So we'll start out practicing just the very top one there. Here. I'll go to acoustic. Gonna tune. Everybody in tune? Everybody got a guitar out? Yeah, so I taught a lesson this morning really early. And then no, if you took a sip every time I said you would be going to the bathroom all the time or drunk on the floor under your table. Just so you know. See, here's an example. However, I did change guitars, so that is sip worthy. So this and we can stick with the E to E sus thing. I don't know. If you feel like it, we could do. Oh, I can put up the Brett. I can put up the Discord link. Hold on, I gotta open up that. I don't have Safari open. Boom, boom, do, 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 do. Entertain yourselves right now, just while I do this. All right. Copy link. All right, there you go. I'm glad, Kathy. Yeah, so, and, yeah, we'll probably go to 12:30 or so my time, about an hour and a half total. One pro tip, if you're going to record acoustic, don't wear a shirt with buttons. I'm not worried about it right now, but you get click, 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 you get this sound. Engineer's like, what's that clacking sound? And you're like, oh, it's my shirt hitting the guitar. It's like the back of the guitar is like an amplifier. Okay, I won't tell your boss, Kathy. I'm not your boss, right? So. I think Leo actually is your boss. That's a 6/8 feel. Basically, it's that second one on the bottom is what I was doing, and we're gonna have some fun with this. Well, we're gonna try, and maybe this may be a two-parter. Well, we could work on 12/8. Walter's talking to me here. I'm on the scene where I didn't accept. Oh, yeah, no, it's fine, Walter. No, that's intentional. You talk about this here. If I open this up though, then my guitar gets hidden by the. So if I had my act together, I'd have something. Yeah, if I had my act together, I'd have something over there on the right hand side. Um, but unfortunately, you know, like I could put like I could put the chat over there. This could go here. I could go bigger, but the problem is then these grooves hide my hand. So it's kind of why I'm doing it this way for now. But the consensus was that they kind of liked it better, so I'm kind of going with that. That's why it looks like that. Sorry. But yeah, I've been doing it for a while. Like you can see all these other scenes. Memories, like the corners of your mind. What is that one? Oh, that was one of the, oh weird, I must have deleted some of those. That's weird. Okay. So this is the one we're on today. Hey, Yam. Is that my name now, Ed? So let me see. Let's see. I think we're just going to stick with the E and the E sus chord. Okay, so the two chords we're going to play are E major, which is just this 0 2 2 1 0 0, and then E sus, which is shorthand for E sus 4, which is 0 2 2 2 0 0. Okay, and why we're going to do that is because it's very, very easy to play those two chords. And I want you to concentrate more on the right hand than the left hand. But one of the things I like to do when I'm doing 6/8 is go from like the one chord in a key, like in this case G, to the sixth chord. That, but I think we're going to stick with. Okay, let me see what this tempo is on this one here, and see how. 1 2 3. Okay, so we're going to practice just the first one, the top one up there on the upper left, and it'd be like this: 2 2 3 1. E sus. 2 3 1 2 3 2 2. I gotta turn off the fills. 1 2 2 1 2 2 1 2. All downstrokes. Down, 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 down. Okay. And you can count 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 and my hair. 4 5 6 1 2 4 5 6 1 2 4 5 6 1 4 5 6 1 2 4 5 6. Is it doing a different fill every time? I can't tell. It can't be doing a different. No, it's not doing a different fill. I swear, drummer is such a good software though. Okay, I'll turn off the fill, so that'll simplify that. All right, so, all right, let me get back here, boom, boom, boom. All right, so that was I'm just doing down, 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 down. And again, you can kind of feel it like this 1 2 3 2. 1 2. Walter, we would count it like that. We would go 1 2, 1 2 3 2 2 3, boom, boom. You know, because you really want to. It's a great feel. I love playing in 6/8, and it's great because it has both that big 1 2. I could just see beer steins, you know. So it's very common in Latin music, but it's also very, very common in Celtic music, and folk music has used it for a very, very long time. So it's a very common strumming groove. So if we were to subdivide or play upstrokes in between every one of the downstrokes, musically it would look like the bottom left there, the 6/8 thing with it's got. So remember, 6/8 would be 6th, 8th notes. Okay, we have 6 notes in a bar, and the 8th note gets the count. So that top one there is 6/8 notes. The bottom one there, you can see if you make every eighth note into 2/16, you're going to end up with 12 16th notes, and they're grouped there in two groups of 6. You wouldn't want to group that in one group of 12 notes. Celtic is like Irish music. It's spelled with a C, Celtic. It's not yeah, K is more appropriate, actually. K makes more sense, but it's spelled with a C and pronounced Celtic. You could say Celtic music, too, I think. I've heard both. The Boston Celtics are spelled the same way, but they're not known as the Boston Celtics. I should start calling them that. And, you know, if you want to start, actually, I think 6/8 is John Lennon's favorite group, you know, hey. And then John Lennon really loved 6/8. So I actually was going to start a series, a strumming series, but the research was killing me on it. But I wanted to do, because somebody put a comment in one of my 6/8 lessons that it was John Lennon's favorite strumming, and I'd never thought about that before, but I started going through Beatles songs, and I realized, oh yeah, every 6/8 song, Beatles that I can think of, was written by John Lennon. And so then I saw, oh, you know what would be cool is to do a series on, you know, different famous musicians / songwriters / guitar players and their favorite grooves. So I was going to do like John Lennon's favorite groove, or favorite strumming pattern, or favorite whatever, and then I was going to, you know, try to come up with what else, like Jimmy Page, if he had one that kind of jumped out, Bob Dylan, if there was one that Bob Dylan did a lot. I thought that would be a kind of fun. Yeah, you could totally call it. Oh, you mean the bottom? Walter's saying he said. Some guys call that 12/8, like the one at the bottom. But yeah, 12/8 to me I always think of 12/8 as being a shuffle. So whenever I see 12/8, I'm always thinking. 3, 4. Right, exactly, Walter. And it's also 6/8 is very common in folk music. They wouldn't write it out and same with Celtic music. They don't write out 12/8. Now, flamenco, they do both. 6/8 and 12/8 are both about as common as each other. I see them about half and half as far as music notation. But yeah, it drives me a little crazy. Well, I mean, Walter and I, we actually know. we see that every now and then. We see 6/8 written as 12/8, and sometimes it kind of bothers me. But it's like we won't mention any names, Walter. But anyway, I thought it would be really, really cool to do a series like that, but the research was killing me because I had to listen to a million Bob Dylan tunes, and I went, well, he likes this strumming groove, but he doesn't do it through the whole song, and he changes, and he's constantly, you know. Okay, I'm going to touch my nose, so that means we can all take a sip. I hope you have libations handy. They don't have to be frothy libations. They can just be normal libations. I had a band in high school called Frothy Libations. That was a double sip for you there, huh? Yes, that's true, Walter. If you write it out in 12/8, the chart will actually, and I think that's probably something that notation people tend to do. They like 12/8 because it's a little bit easier, but you know, it's funny because I see 12/8 and it's hard for me to feel it as a 6/8. But if we were to play, so if we were to take 6/8 and play, because we're doing all downs on that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. If we just with all those downstrokes, we have upstrokes. We're just not hitting them. So they're there. We just got to hit them. So if we hit them, we go. So it'd be, if that bottom right one would sound like this. and that one is not very common. Let me play it with the groove. We can go back and forth. I'll say eighth notes, and then I'll say 16th notes. And I'll say eighth notes, and I'll say 16th notes, and you guys go. So let's do eighth notes. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. E sus. 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Now do the 16th. Walter, yes, exactly right. Well, the other thing, Walter, about 6'8", and I guess I changed the wrong drummer. That's so funny. I changed the wrong drummer. I did. He still got fills, so I gotta get rid of the fills here. Okay, now it won't have fills. That's funny. Walter is totally right. In fact, Walter, the worst is counting off the beginning of a 12/8. Here we go. Ready? Everybody ready? Everyone ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What song are we doing? It's like, oh my gosh, it takes forever. Usually drummers will just go 1, 2, 3, and boom, we're all in. But it's just like, holy cow. Talk about, I could eat a meal from the time the drummer starts the count off for the song and the time we start a song in 12/8. But, it's funny because it freaks me out, but Walter, Walter's good at, Walter does a lot of orchestra sessions. He does a lot of major film dates. I do a lot of minor film dates. And I do them all from home, which is great. But one thing, I remember playing with orchestras a few times, and it just freaks me out. Well, especially known pieces. I'm sure in Walter's case, they get a click, they're getting a count off like this. But I've actually played with orchestras where they're playing pieces that everybody knows, and I'm playing guitar with the orchestra, which is frightening. And the conductor goes like that, and there's the downbeat. So the song could be in 12/8, it could be in 4008, and he's gonna go like that, and there's the downbeat. It's like, boom, bum 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 bum. Everybody knows, they already have the tempo in their head. So he's just like, and one. That's all you get with an orchestra. And it's like, yeah, I was tuning when you did that, so I missed that. Can you start the song again? Because that's what happened to me in rehearsal. Is when I was playing with the orchestra, I was like, hold on, I was checking, I was tuning, and I went, whoa, I totally missed it. So it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, so let me go back to that drum, and we're gonna do some more. Eighth notes and 6/8. So we're gonna do the first one on the top there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Oh, it's drummer in the beats being created by drummer in Logic. So it comes with Logic. 4, 5. Okay, let's get ready to do the. And you can accent 1, 2, 1. Gotta keep that arm moving. Oh yeah, Pepper, I'm sure. Springsteen. I'm sure Springsteen did. I'm sure he probably did like some 12/8, more shuffly kind of stuff. He's very. I'm not a huge aficionado on Springsteen music. Mellencamp music, I know. I'm trying to think of any Mellencamp songs that have 6/8. I know there are Mellencamp songs that have 6/8. Oh, bummer, Jim. Yeah, it's Logic drummer. So it's the software I'm using is Drummer, and it comes with Logic. So if you're an Apple user, I don't think there's a PC version of Logic. I could be wrong, but if you're an Apple user, Logic is a great software program for writing. But basically, you can kind of do what I'm doing here in GarageBand, which comes with every Apple device. If you have an iPad or an iPhone or an iMac or MacBook Pro, MacBook anything, I think even MacBook Air or whatever, I think that may even come with GarageBand. But if you get into GarageBand, Logic is far more complex. But for $200, I have never run across a software program that packed more in it. I mean, it's got great synthesizers, not bad samples, a huge loop library, but you don't have to download the loop library if you don't want to. I generally don't, because I usually use soft synthesizers and other sources for loops than the Apple loops. But just an amazing product for $199. It's really crazy. So, but I'm sure there's something like Drummer in GarageBand, and basically you just create a new drummer region. You select a style. You select, and in this case, where I put in a drummer region, I was already in 6.8. So the drummer region knew to automatically program it for 6.8. Okay. If I were to change it, if I were to drag the same file over to 4.4, it would change the feel completely. It's so crazy. It's very, very easy to use. You dropped your pencil. Okay. So both of those patterns, though, that we've just spent all that time on are not that common to 6.8 for at least guitar players. The next two are pretty common, and oftentimes I would gravitate the bottom two on the right. I will go back and forth between those two. The first one sounds like this. And whenever I think about this pattern, or when I say I think of Bill Murray from Stripes. Boom chugga-lugga-lugga, boom chugga-lugga. But that's not right. Boom chugga-lugga, boom chugga. Yeah, I guess it is. Boom chugga-lugga, boom chugga-lugga, boom chugga-lugga, boom. It's 6.8. Bonnie, does Jim have a PC? Is it bugging out because I was talking about Apple computers and it won't let me talk about Apple computers? So that's the middle one. 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 2. Down. And it's not syncopated. I don't have 2 ups in a row. The next one is not syncopated, but you are going to skip a down and an up. So it's... See, notice my hand's still moving. You can even do this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. I should have written this one out. 2, 3. To kind of keep the beat going, even though you're playing big footballs, or in that case, those would be dotted chord notes, but we won't go there. There won't be a quiz on that. Celebratory sip. And I will try to upload these. I got a busy day. I've already taught a lesson in London, and I've already done a session played oud today already, and now I'm doing this, and then I've got all this stuff to do later today. It's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. I was expecting this to be like vacation. And so I like the second one too, the third one. So the second and third one are great. So listen to this. I'll go back and forth between them. Space in that second one. The middle one's probably the most common. The one after that's probably the second most common. Third one. But I keep my hand moving. I agree. Yeah, usually I put the click it on eighth notes on this pattern. Some people will put it on the dotted quarter notes. Walter, you do that. You do dotted quarter notes sometimes on the click, don't you? If it's in 12/8, I don't know. I just like the more subdivisions the better, but 16th notes would be too much. Yeah, no, we're always doing math while we play. Walter's on his phone setting up tempos and choosing meters, and so anyway, both of those are pretty usable. So let's go ahead and practice the middle one. So it's gonna be down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 2 and 3, and 1, 2 and 3, and 1, 2 and 3, and boom, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka, shakalaka. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, it's I actually started Bonnie, thanks for that question, because the earlier question. I actually started to do let's see, some YouTube here. Let's see. Yeah, I started doing. Let's see. John Denver. Yeah, like I said, I started to do some research on this favorite strumming grooves thing, and it would make a great series, I think, if I could really figure it out. I have written Jack Johnson, which because I know he does the same groove on every song. We can learn that one. But Bob Dylan, Eagles, John Denver, Keith Richards, Johnny Cash, Neil Young. I said Jimmy Page. Probably on some of those grooves, he might have a favorite. You said Bruce Springsteen. I have to check and see if he has a favorite. And then also Mellencamp, I know. John Mellencamp, who I've met. I knew a lot of his bandmates. I knew John before he was anybody. John had a hit. He got like. I remember it was a big deal when he sold "I Need a Lover" to Pat Benatar, and he got like a $40,000 check right up off the bat for the song, and bought a house. This is with this first. Oh, knowing she would. Interesting. I didn't know that hook. There's so much Beatle trivia out there. And so, Walter, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Pepper, I added those. Um, and I was talking about Pepper. Pepper sent me a link to her, or no, she said, look her up on YouTube. She did a stand-up comedy thing, and I was saying at the beginning there that Pepper's, getting up and doing stand-up is crazy. I have more respect for stand-up comedians than anybody else in performing arts, and I'll tell you why. Because, dang it, I touched my nose. I'm gonna run out of coffee here in a minute. With music, I mean, Walter and I, a lot of you are musicians and have played out and stuff like that. You know, if you're playing a club or you're playing a bar, you're playing where it doesn't matter, an arena, anything. If you're playing an arena, they're there to see you, so they're gonna love everything you do. But it's like if you're playing a club and you're having a bad night or whatever, people don't really know. I mean, if you're really bad, if you're singing bad or something like that, maybe. But if you get through the song and you think, oh, yeah, I like that, I did a good job, I like my solo I did there. I'm pretty hard on myself, so I'd probably never like anything I do. but if I, I'm like, okay, that was cool, that was good, whatever. I get to the end of the song and I'm like happy with it, and I go to the next song. That's great. But a comedian knows within about 10 seconds if they're gonna bomb or not, and then they gotta just be up there for 20 minutes, and I've seen comedians. I used to go. We live in Pasadena, and we used to go to the Ice House all the time, and I saw a lot of comedians there, and it's a serious art form, and you have to deal with hecklers, you have to deal with nerves, you have to remember your routine, and most comedians, like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Stand Up that Jerry Seinfeld did right after he ended Seinfeld. And they basically followed him around, I think, for about 6 months while he put together 20 minutes of material. So it took him 6 months to write 20 minutes of material. And it's kind of one of those things where, you've got a number in a joke, and the number is irrelevant. So, but you still are going, well, is 7 funnier or is 8 funnier? Which? And so every word is slaved over as far as, is it the best word for that, to tell this joke or whatever, the best way to tell a joke. And he gets, at the end of the movie, he's done his 20 minutes, and afterwards, he and Chris Rock and a bunch of others are sitting around a table and in a booth, kind of chilling out by themselves after the club's closed. And Chris Rock had just gotten back from seeing 2 nights in a row of Bill Cosby. And he said, yeah, Bill Cosby sat down in a chair, did 2 hours last night, and tonight he did 2 hours in a chair of completely different material. Bill Cosby was just funny. He would just get up there and be funny. But Chris Rock and Seinfeld and all them, they're writing, and they're slaving over every phrase and every way to say something. Gosh darn it, my nose. Allergies. Anyway, so I have a lot of respect for stand-up comedians. It's an amazing art form, and I have a friend who did it once, and I went to see him perform, and let's just say he reinforced my belief that it's a very, very difficult thing to do. And Pepper, you did actually a really good job. You had a very natural feel up there, and you weren't looking off, cards or anything like that. So. So look up Pepper. You can, how she spells her name there, you can check it out. It's pretty exposing to be a stand-up comedian, to get up there and do that. So we musicians always are hiding behind our instruments, so it's a little bit easier to do what we're doing. So all right, so I'm gonna play that drum groove, and we're gonna work on that middle groove. Here's the drum groove. Wait, I'm getting all sorts of emails and texts, and okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. It's so funny. I just got a request if I know anybody who plays hurdy-gurdy. Let's see. Sorry. All right, so email returned. Day in the life, you guys. You're totally watching me work here. All right, so okay. Oh, Pepper. So yeah, I don't know. Let's do this groove. Here's the groove. Again, this is drummer in Logic. And this is, what drummer am I using? This is, I think, is it Darcy? Yeah, Darcy Pop songwriter. So she's the drummer. In the songwriter, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different drummers. Funky songwriter, pop songwriter, experimental songwriter, roots, 60 songwriter, roots, brush, and pop brush. That's a new one, I think. They keep updating. There's styles-wise, there's rock, alternative songwriter, R&B, electronic, hip-hop, and percussion. And so we're doing... I could do... if Walter... I don't know if Walter's still there. I could do a percussion. See what that sounds like. Oh, shoot. No, delete. that, and then you go. Okay. So enter create drummer region. Now I just want coffee. So I'll go with coffee shop drummer. And then, oh wait, why did it not change here? Okay. And then I just, oh, see, this is weird. It didn't do that. It didn't change the drum. I see what I did. Okay. Let's see, what about this? Here we go. Let's see what this does. All right, so this is... So I have hand clap, cajon. Oh, I could do stomp. This is a new drummer. I haven't seen this. So he's stomping. That's crazy. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 2, 3. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up. So the second one is like this. 2, 3. It has more space. G, E minor. Okay, so one thing you can do too, I mean, like I said, the cool thing about 6/8, the thing I really, really love about 6/8 is that you can, you can mix it up. Let's see. Touching face now. You can mix up the groove. So, like for example, the 6/8, the bottom right one, I kind of was doing that, but then I kind of would sometimes do a big, the second half of the very top one. So sometimes I was going like this. Like, I'll just play on E so you can hear, but let's see. That 2, 2, 3, down, up, down, down, down. The great thing about 6/8 is you can just go back and forth between all the different patterns, and then we have new ones that we're I don't know if I want to get to today. These are pretty syncopated. I want you to get these down first. My windows, just so lame. Those are more syncopated because you can see we have ups in a row. If we have 2 ups in a row, that means it's a syncopated pattern. Okay, 2 downs in a row doesn't. And if you look at that bottom right one, the top one is the same as on the previous page. It's just not in the same spot. See, I probably just need to move this down like this so it kind of looks like it's in the same spot. But basically, the bottom left one is syncopated because there's 2 ups in a row. The middle one is syncopated because you got lots of ups in a row. And then this bottom one, what it is the first 3 beats is the same as the middle one here. but the second three beats is the same as the middle one on this page. So that would be for example, that bottom one, bottom right on this page here is. And my point is, you can go back and forth between all the feels pretty much at will. It's not like something about 6/8. I don't know if it's the listener doesn't expect it to be like the solid, like. That's the Jack Johnson groove, I mean, he almost keeps that groove going through the whole song. A lot of times when you're doing bluegrass, you keep that groove going through the whole song. But with 6/8, we can kind of go. No, 6/8 and waltzes are very, very different. 6/8 is a very different feel than a 3/4. The math is similar, but you count 3/4 as a 3. 3/4 would be counted in 3. 1, 2, 3. Waltz 2, 3. The 6/8s are not waltz. It's a very, very different feel. So, and actually 6/8 is more. I mean, in my experience, 6/8 is far more common than 3/4. I just don't see 3/4 very often. In basic guitar books, yeah, you see 3/4 more common, but okay, thanks, Bruce. But 6/8 in the real world of playing styles, different music, 3/4. There's songs with that, but you wouldn't count hide your hey, you've got to hide your love away. You wouldn't count that in 3. You count that in 6/8. And they may have counted it in 3, but they might have been counting it in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, fast 3. Anyway, so let's see. Okay, Leo had a question, and so did Verdi. Verdi, I missed Verdi's here. Oh, there it is. Between 6/8 and 3/4. No, 3/4 would be the waltz. 6/8 would be more of a kind of a Celtic. Cheers. Celtic Spanish feel. And there's also, like I said, there's a lot of in Spanish music. There's 9/8, which is an uncommon, and there's 3/4 as well as 6/8 and 12/8. In flamenco music, 12/8 is fairly common. Rock songs. I'm trying to think of how many 3/4 rock songs. There's a lot of jazz waltzes. So like Waltz for Debbie Down. How does Waltz for Debbie go? Let me see if I can find that. Shoot. No. Bum, bum, bum. Thought I had a copy of the real book somewhere. Okay, let me just pull up a quick little PDF of Waltz for Debbie. I'll show you. That is 3/4. That's not. And again, 3/4 is. I mean, I could make the argument that 3/4 is more common, but as far as actually when I'm writing or working, when I'm doing songs, some people would call some 6/8 feels as a 3/4 thing, but they'd be wrong. Yeah, let's see. Here's Waltz for Debbie. I need a jazz sound. I could do it on acoustic. I don't know if this is. Yeah, it's Bill Evans' tune. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, I would count that. That's a waltz, a fast waltz. And that's common in jazz. 6/8 is not very common in jazz. So again, it probably depends on what style of music you play. But I think I've seen some songs in 6/8, but waltz is pretty rare. And waltz sounds corny to me. 6/8 sounds fun. It's amazing to me the difference. But anyway, not to disagree with you there, Bruce. Let's see. Oh, and then Leon. See, Leo, what was your question? So, Mr. Bean. See, them all in a singles a single song, one pattern per measure. Yeah, I mean, you could. That's like I said, the beauty of you could do the whole song in 6/8. You could do the same groove all the way through. You know. That's why I put this up here, because I didn't want it to get in the way of my head. Yeah, get rid of that hair. That's that middle one on the bottom there. Yeah, there's no reason you couldn't do that through the whole song. But my point is, you know, no one gets it's not a crime to change the feel every now and then. Even within a bar, you can, you know, like I often will take, like I said, that second one in the bottom and go halfway through that bar. I may jump up to the first one on the top there. So like, almost, if I were to do that, go to a big strong 2, like that, you know, 4, 5, 6, 1. If I were to do that, it would be to kind of set up something, maybe, you know, it was a big moment, maybe at the end of a verse or end of a chorus, you know, going into the chorus, going into a verse, going into a bridge or something like that. You might use it as kind of like, here we go. You know, so that's one of the cool things. And again, and the other one, the bottom two, the two on the right, the bottom two, I could go back and forth on those two, even within a bar. So I could do the first half of the bar, 1, 2, and 3, and 2, and 3, like that. So it'd be first half of, and then it's done like this fast. Hard to tell slow tempo what it's going to sound like, but. And the great thing about the last one, the third one there, it's got a lot of space to it. There's a lot of emptiness in there. So the percussionist can be kind of busier and fill in stuff for the drummer or whoever, and bass players like to fill in on, you know, 6/8 is just a fun thing to play in. The other thing you can do too is, it's actually really hard. You could get rid of the, on that third one, you could play down on 1 and up on the and of 2, and don't play 3 and on those. So it would be this, 1, 2. So what I'm doing is I'm basically tying those 3/16 notes together. So 3/16 notes equals a dotted 8th note. Don't worry, that is not a quiz on the end of the week. Celebrate with a sip. There will not be a quiz on that. But basically what that does is that makes it sound like 4/4. That's what's crazy. So if I have the drummer going, and so like this. No, let me go ahead and do a drummer. So there's our drummer, rock drummer playing. 2, 3, 1. I'm playing the top pattern. Now I'm going to play the bottom middle. Oh, sorry. That was beat 1. Sorry. Okay. Let me start. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, boom. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. pattern. I'm going to fill it in with the middle pattern on the bottom. And if you can do that last pattern, here it is. Get rid of down. Notice I'm keeping my arm moving. To me, that's always really, really key of keeping the groove going. I could just play when I'm hitting. I could just go, sorry, I got too many windows to navigate here. Okay. I need another screen altogether. Exactly. That feels like 4/4. So I'm kind of superimposing 4/4 over 6/8. I've been in situations where then we turn the song into a 4/4 song, which is really crazy. It's a lot of fun. A lot of times the drummer will do that. Just for fun, and then they got to go back to 6/8. So you'd be like, yeah, it's hard. I have to have a drummer help me get through that but I can play that 4 feel over the 6/8 no problem. And so, I don't know, something about 6/8, I can go all over the place. I could do the top one, the bottom, the first one, the second one on the bottom, top one, But if you can get that bottom one down, which is the down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. If you can get that one down, and you'll have to have a metronome that does 6/8. But if you can get that one down, you can probably do the 4/6. So that's kind of oh man, oh, what is making me so itchy? I'm almost out of coffee. So anyway, we're so what's Dennis doing? Dennis is getting in trouble here. What's yeah, it's cool. Let's see. Yeah, Leo, it does feel like, and it's good to think like a drummer. You can really get some good grooves from drummers. That's why I always say listen to drummers, and you can get. Let's see. And I was wrong about Mr. Bean. He was in the ukulele orchestra. You guys are talking about Mr. Bean over here. Oh, you're right. Elliott Smith does play a lot in 3/4. I wonder how many of those though you could count in 6/8. I mean, I wonder how many of them are more 6/8 than 3/4. It just depends. And then I think if you go back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you would rarely, never see 6/8. But now you see 6/8 far more. I see 6/8 all the time, and I hardly ever see 3/4. So, I don't think it's a notation change. I think it's literally a change of how music is, written and recorded and thought about. And so much of music today, and there's a lot more Latin influence on music today than there was in the 50s and 60s. The 50s bossa nova started to make a comeback. It kind of made it into the American music scene, into jazz. A lot of jazz musicians were traveling and going down to South America and to the islands, Caribbean, and bringing back all sorts of different grooves and feels and making their songs that way. And that was I think of who did St. Thomas. Let's see. Yeah, I forget who. Is that Dexter? Not Dexter Gordon. I forget who did. Who did? House of the Rising Sun. Yeah, South. Let's see. House of the Rising Sun. Is that? Would you consider that might be 3/4? Although, what do you think? I'm trying to think of House of the Rising Sun. How's that going? It's in D. Yeah, that's 6/8. But some people might see, and here's the thing. Okay, how do you count that? 1, 2. If you think of these as eighth notes and going 1, 2, let's see, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and right? But I think that's 3/4. This is 6/8. And so I can hear 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. I just think about the pattern. The pattern is down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, up, up. I'm thinking it's in groupings of 3. So that's where I would think of it more likely to be a 6/8 pattern, like the one that's written right there. Was it? It's G and. It's a little before my time, to be honest. I think I learned it when I was like 13 or something. It was originally done by Leadbelly as a 3/4. So he was like. See, that would be 3/4. But to go, you know, that kind of has that. That kind of fun rolly feel. It feels like a roll rather than like an old-fashioned waltz. So. Oh, sorry, A minor, sorry. Shoot, so what was it? What song was I thinking of? I was in the wrong key. See, that shows you what I know about. I mean, I don't think I ever taught that song. If I had taught that song, because none of my students ever asked for it, because again, I started teaching in the late '70s. So by then, song would have been like, no, we don't want to learn that song. Cats in the Cradle, that kind of stuff they didn't want to learn. Beatles songs they wanted to learn, and Zeppelin and Hendrix and all that, but. Yeah, some of that stuff in the 60s, they just didn't. 50s especially, nobody wanted to learn 50s tunes. I would teach some 50s tunes. One of my favorite things to teach was, it was not a 50s song, but it reminded me of a 50s song, is the bass line. If I had bass students, I always taught them the bass line to Smiling Face by James Taylor, which is Lee Sklar, who I've actually worked with before. I know Lee Walters worked with Lee a lot. But Lee Sklar's a great bass player, so I'm taking a sip because I'm going to itch my nose again. I think it's just cat hairs floating around. Her hair's, we've been brushing like wads of hair out of her fur. Okay, so, oh man, yeah, it's all arpeggios, isn't it? So yeah, it's definitely, and the arpeggio is kind of the giveaway for the 6/8 feel, as opposed to the 3/4 vibe. So, that's in New Orleans. Yeah, the Rising Sun place. Autumn Leaves. Let's see. Oh, no Autumn Leaves. Let me pull up the chart for that one. Was that in 3/4 too? No, it's in. Yeah, it's like, man, I'm used to doing it fast, but. Oh, funny, you do the. What would you do? Be mine? Oh, it's a. I got a weird chart. Usually, like when you play Autumn Leaves, it's always bum bum ba ba dun 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 ba dun 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 ba dun. That's usually how you play the head. Once you get into the song, then you just play the changes so that people can solo. But yeah, everyone I've ever played that with has always done it the same way. It's like they all went to the same music school or something. Anyway, who do you love to bits, Diane? Oh, your grandfather? Well, I hope your let's see. Let's see. Nice. You played it in a hearse with a surfboard on the roof. That sounds about right. So let's see. What else is... All right. We can get rid of... Now, tomorrow... this is for tomorrow. We'll get to this tomorrow. Today, what is this, 59? Oh, man. I may have to take a break. We've been doing this for 58. This is less than 58. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are going to do. You guys are going to have to hang out without me? What's going to happen when I've got so much work to do. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing 3 drummers right now. Coffee shop guy. Darcy. Kyle. And then all of them. It's funny because they all have names. Okay. Oh, question. Oh, trim nails. Oh, gee. Dennis, that's a toughie. Unfortunately, hey Jan. Unfortunately, my nails. I'm always filing them. I don't trim them. I'm always filing them. My nails just crack too much. I unfortunately have to keep them pretty short. And so I would like them to be longer, but unfortunately I can't. My first and second finger almost are always broken. My thumb's gone right now because it broke. I don't remember how I broke it, but it's just, and I use strengthener, but the problem with strengthener, and this stuff is called Nail Tech. It's not bad. The only problem with strengtheners is they tend to get around your cuticle, and when they get on the cuticle, they harden the cuticle, and then it turns into like a hangnail. And then you run the risk, like, of getting an infection on the edge of your finger because you got a hangnail that you probably bit just out of habit. But see you later, Ben. So I'm going to upload. Oops, wrong. I got so many scenes now. There we go. I will upload. I'll probably upload all of the 6/8 ones I did today. The ones we're going to use tomorrow, so they're already up there at Discord. I can do that right now. In fact, let me create the Discord link again, and then I'll upload those 6/8 things. Oh, it's taking a second to connect. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, so here's the link. And then, so if you you feel free to join the Discord, because I upload all of the musical examples that I create. I upload to, it's called Tom's Bookmarks. So I put them in there, and I'm going to upload, I think, 7 more now. Let's see, what are they? 8 more? Where are they? Here, 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different. And I'm going to hit upload button slower than I did the other day. I clicked the upload button like really fast, and it failed on one of them. It was like, wait, what? So I just expect the machines to work when I tell them to. Okay. So they're all up there now. So you can go to the Discord site and you can see those. What I would suggest is go ahead and just download those or grab them and put them into like a Word doc, and then, you know, have a bunch of them on one page. You don't need to have these printouts of these giant grooves. And then, you know, you can work ahead if you want to start working on tomorrow's lesson. We're going to do syncopated ones, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. Again, it's not one of those things where I can see your hands or your arms and make sure you're doing it all right. So it's a little frustrating on my end. But yeah, so it was Dennis was asking me about my fingernails. Story time. What am I going to tell a story about? Let's see. That's a good question. I need a subject. Yep, they all uploaded. Good. Diane's like hitting me for story time. What should I talk about? Try to think. I don't know. Like, I've used all my good stories are already told now. I've said I don't really have. I have to see. We got to end this lockdown so we can live lives, and I can come up with some new stories. You're just sitting around in my house watching Netflix and doing guitar sessions. You know, I'm not getting any good stories. I need some good stories. I can tell you. Okay, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine. In fact, it's funny because I got called for this gig and I didn't get it. And my friend CJ, who's an amazing piano player. In fact, I got called to work for this producer engineer that I'd worked for many times. In fact, I'd brought my son's band to him for him to produce. Dear sweet man who passed away, a massive heart attack about a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. So really sad. He was really Joel Soifer. He had a studio in Los Angeles called Coney Island Recorders. He was from New York City. He was from, I think, the Bronx and or Brooklyn, one of the two. And he named his studio here in LA Coney Island Recorders. And he worked with a lot of people. He did a lot of the High School Musical stuff, but he did a lot of stuff before that too. And he called me for this session at his studio in Burbank, and I go in there, and we are recording for this artist that I work with every now and then, and she wants to do a cover of a Cat Stevens song, but it was one I hadn't heard of before. So I got a copy of, you know, I found it on YouTube, and I did a quick chart for it, so that I showed up prepared. And then I get there, and they said, just bring acoustic. We're just going to do acoustic, no electric. I'm like, okay. And then I show up, and there's this piano player there. And I'm like, well, and there's no drums, no bass, nothing, just piano and guitar. And I'm like, it's kind of a weird combination of acoustic guitar and piano, because we're going to have a real hard time trying to stay out of the way of each other. It's like, how am I going to do this? And, play, and, it's just, we're kind of both doing finger pick. I'm doing finger picking and he's playing arpeggios, and, or that's what I'm imagining. So he and I sit down and we kind of work through this arrangement. We kind of come up with an arrangement that we're going to do. And I forget, it was like, we we've got the headphones on. We get a click. I think we have a click to start, but if I remember correctly, we didn't use a click for the whole song. We just used it to get a tempo to start, so we'd start together. Because they wanted us to play together at the same time, like start on the downbeat of the first bar. So I'm like, okay. So they give us that click, they turn off the click, and we play through the song. First pass, play through the song, and we get to the last, last chorus. We're going around to the end. We're coming. I think we tagged it, which means play the last 2 bars or the last 4 bars of the song over again. And we got to tag, and then we go to retard the song. We go to slow down, and that's one of those things where without a conductor, it's really hard to do it together. And we both, I don't remember what the song, how the song went, but and so I'm just trapped in 6/8 right now. But it was something like that, and we did our retards. We let the chord ring out. You always, you're not supposed to go like woohoo, like that. You gotta let the chord ring out, and we let the chord ring out, and then we got to the end. They said, "Okay, the red light goes off or whatever," and we both looked at each other like we totally matched each other. Like we'd been playing together our whole lives, because everybody retards at a different rate. Nobody ever does it the same. It was like we were brothers, and we've been playing together since we were 12 years old. It was crazy. What I don't remember, what did I forget? Oh, what's the difference between a guitar player and a pizza? What? I don't want to know. Joke. And so we get into the booth, and we are into the control room, and we look at the Pro Tools files, and our files lined up the notes exactly perfect. And it was like we came out of that and we went, that actually, we didn't know how we were going to do this song because it didn't make any sense to really do an arrangement of it. Yeah, it's true. A pizza can feed a family of 4 at least once. And so what do you call a guitar player without a girlfriend? Homeless. So we did this perfect take. And actually, like I said, we came up with an arrangement of the song that was not bad. We were kind of surprised. We were like, wow, actually, that's a really nice arrangement. And then the young guy that was like her manager comes and goes, yeah, I don't know, that's not going to work. Let's do something different. Can you make it more, poppy? So I was like, oh man, you're kidding. So we had to do we did 3 or 4. The song was way too old fashioned sounding to ever do in a pop context. You just couldn't do it. And so he was hearing something that wasn't possible, I don't think. I mean, maybe somebody could have done it. But the artist wasn't complaining. She liked what we did. So I don't know whatever happened to the song. I don't know that it ever got released. But that was the first time CJ and I ever worked together, and it was crazy. And so we started working together more. He started calling me for things because, he liked my playing, and so I would go over to his studio and we'd do some sessions. And he usually uses Steve Lukather from Toto on guitar on things if he can, or there's several guitar players that he would use that are on the food chain. They're up here compared to me, and so but we started working together a lot. And he was telling me this story on this gig that he got that I had gotten called for too. It was a sidelining gig. In fact, I was in Michigan, and I get a call for this gig, and I'm like, I'll fly home to do this. I'll fly back to Los Angeles to do this gig. And it was to play in a movie with De Niro. Let's see, what was it? What was the name of that movie? I'm pretty sure it was De Niro. And I don't remember. I need to look up the movie. I think it was originally called Imagine. Let me look it up by that and see if that's the name of the movie. No, it's not. I Can Only Imagine. It's was it De Niro? I'm pretty sure. I want to make sure it's De Niro, because they did release the movie. And he was a musician that gave up what did they call it? Oh, see, they didn't. How long ago was this? I don't know. Well, he was a musician, and he had a letter from John Lennon that John Lennon wrote him and said, "You're a really good songwriter. Keep it up," or something like that. What did they end up calling it? That's the weird thing is thought it was De Niro. Am I getting De Niro mixed up with? Oh gosh. Really, you asked me to do a story, and then I don't know the story. No, stop helping me. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Let's see. Okay, CJ. So CJ was a music director for Spinal Tap, and also for Joe Cocker. Like he toured with Joe Cocker for years, and Spinal Tap, like 25 years, he's been there. Music director, and so that was cool because I was, huge Spinal Tap fan, and just loved the movies, and so CJ composed the music for Waiting for Guffman. So here I've got Guffman up. Let me see who else is. There we go. Composer. Music by. Seriously, you don't put the composer? Tom. How do they? Oh, here it is. C.J. Vanson, music arranger, I guess. Okay. So what was? See if they have the Danny Collins. Was it? Okay, maybe I'm mixing up now. It's not going to be. Oh, it's. What? It was Al Pacino. Not. See, that's who I always get. I'm like the worst storyteller. Danny Collins. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you were there. Tom on the computer. So Two Broken Thumbs. Yeah. So Danny Collins is the name of the movie. It was originally called Imagine. That's when I got called to be in the band for that, and they were filming at the Greek Theater. Like they were filming several scenes. So it would have been a fairly good paying gig. I don't think you would have actually been playing. They ended up using another guitar player. I think it was the guy that CJ usually uses, and this is before I knew CJ. And a bunch of people were on that. I think. Let's see if it shows the musicians. It may have been Greg Bissonette on drums. Oh yeah, Judith Hill was a background singer. It was Tim Pierce on guitar, Kenny Aronoff, John Mellencamp's drummer for years. Oh, Bill Cantos must have been a keyboard player. George Deering was also in the band. So I probably was going to be playing the George Deering role, but he gets everything, so it made sense that he got called to do it. I don't know what Daryl Leonard plays. Mindy Bear, is she the actress? She was. Who? How do I know her? I know her from somewhere. Oh, she's okay. My son Alex has worked with her. So, anyway, Don was the bass player, I think, the record producer. So it was actually a pretty cool all-star band. It would have been a great gig had I gotten it. Anyway, I didn't get it. So, they're recording in the studio. The pre-records for that they're gonna pretend to play, right? Which had I done that, then it would have been a really good paying gig. But I think they were gonna have George and Tim Pierce do that, and then the on-screen stuff was gonna be different guys. And so I do those every now. It's called sidelining. We talked about that yesterday. I've done a few shows like that. Walter's done it too. So CJ gets a gig. He's in the studio. They're recording the song that they're going to do for the movie, and in the movie. And out of the corner of, so CJ's playing B3 on this at this moment, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees Pacino walk into walk into the booth, and he thinks, "Oh, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm gonna blow Pacino away." So he starts going like, like crazy licks. He's way overplaying on the organ. B3, getting the cabinet spinning. He ends by like sitting on the keyboard, and he takes his headphones and he throws them across the room so they shatter in 1,000 pieces. And he looks in the booth, and Pacino's gone. He did all that for Pacino's benefit, and he's gone. And he's like, "Oh, dang it!" And then all of a sudden the doors to the studio open up like this, and Pacino comes in. And he goes, "You're the most amazing blah blah blah, blankety blankety blank keyboard player I've ever seen in my life." And he goes, "I want you in my band on stage. I want you up there with me," because CJ wasn't going to do it. He was just going to play on the music and then not do the sideline thing. And so he ended up getting not only playing on the recording, but also doing the sidelining thing. And it was funny because then at some point he said that Pacino needed to look like he could play, so he actually, I guess, had CJ come and teach him how to look like he can play piano a little bit. So it's just funny. Yeah. This is. I actually could do 1,000 videos of all my missed gigs. It's like what reminds me of the best song from not Waiting from Guffman, but dang it, shoot, not Best in Show. What's the one about the folk one? What's that? What was that movie? That Chris Guest movie. I got it. So Danny Collins. I got to look it up and see if it's on any of the. Let's see. It's Mighty Wind. Mighty Wind's great, but one of the songs is, they're just totally making fun of folk music and everything, and it's a loving tribute. It's not like bad, But one of the songs is "Never Did No Wandering." This song, the lyrics are great. It's a song about doing nothing. The lyrics are, let me pull them up because it's, did no wandering lyrics. Let's see if I get them without like a million ads. My mama was the cold north wind. My daddy was the son of a railroad man from west of hell, where the trains don't even run. And then it's never heard the whistle of a southbound freight or the singing of its driving wheels. No, I never did no wandering. It's a song about stuff they didn't do. So it's like the most worthless lyric. And it's just like me telling stories about gigs I didn't get. They say the highway is just one big road and it goes from here to there. And they say you can carry a heavy load when you're rolling down the line somewhere. Never seen the dance of a telephone poles as they go whizzing by. No, I never did no wandering. It's like, now a sailor's life is a life for him, but it never was for me. I never soared where the hawk may soar or see what the hawk might see. Never hiked to heaven on a mountain trail. Never. It's just like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. It's just so brilliant. It's a very fun movie. I haven't watched it in a long time. We used to keep that soundtrack in the car for road trips, and the kids had it all memorized. They would just laugh and enjoy that one. So, okay. Yeah, Tom on the computer again. I know. Sorry about that. It's crazy. If Tom, let's see. Oh, yeah. Tell us about NAMM. Oh my gosh, NAMM. We'll see if they even do NAMM next year. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't mind missing it. I know Alex wouldn't be fine missing it. Everybody sip. So tomorrow we're going to take we're going to go to the next level on the 6/8. We'll go over everything we did today and then we'll add to it. So we'll have the guitar in our hands more tomorrow than we did today. And then I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to do. I could stand to take a little bit of a break, and I'm also trying to think about what day I will be doing this if I just go to once a week. We'll see what happens. If work is slow, I could go more than that. But part of the key of this whole community and everything we've been doing is the fact that I've been doing it every day. But that's just not sustainable for my personal health. But also for I don't know how many lessons that I have in me now. I mean, I know I could talk about more stuff. I could do the drop two stuff, talk about that forever. But I don't know how applicable that is to most styles that you play in. Plus, it's more advanced jazz theory kind of stuff. So I don't know. I know some of you would love that, but I'm also thinking of not making the day I do it on a weekend because there's a chance that Beth might start working in the fall. She might actually get a job where right now she's a substitute teacher, so she's completely out of work. So she can't work. She's not getting paid or anything, and so which is fine. But the thing I like about her doing the sub thing is if we want to take off, we can. It's great. And if we want to go away for the weekend or if we want to go away midweek, oftentimes on the weekend I'm working at church. So she's working Monday through Friday. I'm working Monday through Friday here, and then Saturday, Sunday at church. And so I'm thinking that might try to do something more like at noon. And I'm not sure if I'll do it at like afternoon, I probably still would do it around 11 o'clock, so that on the East Coast it'll be 2 o'clock. So I don't know. We'll see what that looks like in the future, and when I drop down to that. And it may be a weaning thing where I go, instead of 7 days a week, I go to 5 days a week and into 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. Because I also want to get back to doing videos for my YouTube channel that are more specific, targeting certain things we've talked about. And I feel like those are ones that people are more likely to watch than 2 hour me forgetting stories and Googling. So, yeah, exactly. I feel like some of you are going to be going back to work. I mean, unfortunately in California, what was it? In LA, they said, oh no, we're not going back to work until after July. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. People are already starting to protest. In fact, yesterday they said, starting yesterday, we had a mandatory mask. If you leave the house, you have to wear a mask. I'm like, in my car, no. Walking down the street by myself, heck no. So I went out. No one called the police. No one reported me. The police didn't stop me. I went out, got my coffee, got some breakfast. Actually, yeah. And I put my mask on when I went to the shop, but I'm not going to wear it when I'm walking on the sidewalks by myself or even with Beth. So I don't know what they're doing. It's like they keep, so as soon as they said a couple days ago that Los Angeles County was going to be shut down for another 3 months, everybody just went, no. And then they came back. So, well, we didn't mean that. And so it's like, what's with these trial balloons? It's like, get your act together. They don't know what they're doing. And so, and to treat, to punish Angelenos. I mean, we're not hardly any deaths at all in Los Angeles. And it's pretty low compared to, say, New York. And the trend is down. And so the curves have been flattened, so we need to kind of get moving. So definitely it's going to be harder for people to show up. Although, I mean, I'm looking at my concurrent viewers, and I think the peak was 58. So I'm not seeing, Peter, much change here, which is interesting. And so I'm happy, I love doing it. You know that. It's been very restorative for me to be to be able to kind of teach and be in front of people in a way. I don't want to get too political, but it does feel like it feels like a giant overreaction. And I know it's a horrific disease, and I know it's very contagious. I've not known anybody personally that's died from it, but I've known lots of people that have had it. I believe I've had it. So we talked about that way back when. There's right, yeah. It's definitely. I feel like as everybody starts to get to work, it'll be less people. So that may be part of my determination as the viewership goes down. I'll be like, yeah, the demand. The reason I don't want to do it on weekends is because I'm afraid if Beth takes a job in the fall, she's, the schools that she subs at 3 different districts, they all love her. And the problem with being a full-time teacher is then you've got to deal with parents and homework and all that stuff. And it ends up becoming a lot more work than subbing. The great thing about subbing is when she's done, she comes home, she's done. I can say, hey, take these days off. We're going to fly to here and go do this or go do that, see our daughter or whatever, and go to Europe or London or wherever we want to go. And she can do that. But if she's working, so a lot of it will be determined if she starts working in the fall. I'm definitely not going to be wanting to do this on Saturdays, unfortunately. I'm going to want to do it during the week so that when weekends are going to be ours and we can enjoy each other and not have to worry about it. But yeah, and the other thing though, with they do Kathy, they do the modeling, the models and all that stuff. I mean, those models, none of them have been right, and so they're asking health experts to do models, and I kind of wish they would ask economic experts to do some models, because the New York Times said there were going to be 3 million Americans dead, and I don't think we're going to get close to that. So if you had some economic expert could say, hey, look, if we become a third world economy, we stop having running water, you'll have 50 million people die of dysentery in America. So especially in America, I mean, the thing in a third world country, they don't have running water. They've never had it, so they know how to get water. They know how to do what they have to do, and yet in spite of that, dysentery is still, I think, the #1 killer in the world. And so I feel like if people don't get a chance, if the economy tanks, there's no income for governments to run things. You're gonna have all sorts of problems that can't be solved, and the cost of that is going to be great. And then if a pandemic shows up, another one, an epidemic of some kind, the hospitals aren't there because there was no money to support them. It's just I don't know. And then, I heard someone say, oh, well, you can get it again. And well, if that's the case, then let's not do anything, because if you can get it again once you've already had it, then what's the point? We can't stay inside forever. Eventually the lights are going to turn off. The water's going to turn off. The government can't keep printing money. So, that's just my opinion. But anyway, I'm sure I've offended some people, but I just, it's 2 months of lockdown in Los Angeles is a pretty long time to be isolated, and church is we're not going to be meeting for a long time. We're going to get permission to meet long before we actually will. That's what's crazy too. So, and depression too is a big thing, and alcoholism and drug overdoses and all that stuff. I mean, there's so many factors. And I feel like if you only talk to one expert and you don't talk to experts on all sides of the thing, you're really only going to get one scary thing, one scary projection that, who knows. Anyway, so probably we'll have half as many people watching tomorrow as today because I went off on this tangent. Although originally when we started doing this, I was talking about this a lot. So you all should know. Thank you, David. There's definitely a lot up there. If I do 60 in a row, I should take a day. Probably should, huh? My wife's a recluse too, so she doesn't mind it, but it's ironic that my job as a musician means I'm home alone all day long working on projects, and she's a school teacher and she's with kids all day long. So we both chose the wrong professions. The models. I believe the models constantly need to be updated constantly. Any economist would do the same thing with, if a corporation hires an economist to check out, should we build a new factory or no, that kind of thing. That's a lot of money they spend to try to determine whether they're going to do some big expenditure like that to determine if the market will bear it. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, everybody's got an opinion. That's exactly right. But okay, you'll still be here tomorrow. Well, that's good. Yeah, right. Exactly, Pepper. Imagine if we didn't have the internet. Oh man. And the other thing is, you've got all these men. You're telling them they can't go to work, and then okay, sure, I'll watch Laker games or I'll watch the Dodgers or whatever. It's nothing, nothing. And I've found myself actually putting on NFL Network. The NFL Network is free right now, and so for the month of May, and so I actually will put games on in the background and just let them run because they have like old games you can watch. And I'll just have them in the background just because it makes me feel like it's normal. You know what I mean? Isn't that crazy? But it actually works. So anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for taking care of each other and praying for each other and being there for each other. And I will see you tomorrow, Lord willing, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So I may get arrested for not wearing my mask walking around. We'll see. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.